Hello everyone, you probably have had enough of me, and it's the first time ever I can put that on a slide and I don't have to explain it to anyone there, well, except Patrick. So this is about sex, lies, and programming, and you'll be very happy to know, I mean, possibly a bit disappointed, but there will be very little programming, okay? So why? Well, sexy software. I was not going to talk about sex, come on. Lies about delivery dates, possibly. And programming, the good news is I hardly do any of it. And here it says it's a good time to mention that it's Mamadou that does it, is here. Mamadou, you can stand up. There's Joseph, there's Philip. Philip is at the back. And there's James. And they've done a great work. And thank you very much. We said you'd get flashed. I can't pick my kids from my school because of that picture, by the way. All right, so we're going to talk about this new thing, the flash stuff. Okay, this is Askia as you know it. And I put a topical question. What do you think of the Askia new features? They're great, they're amazing, etc., etc., etc. Now, with 5.2.2, which is released, you can click on resources, and from there you can pick one of those flash controls and drag it up, to your screen. You got a flash control, okay? I told you there was going to be very little programming, and that's the idea. We try to make sure. I mean, it's not a great flash control, okay, but it is a flash control, and you've been able to do it, with 2 clicks, okay? So here you can, you've got for each of your flash controls. We've not just provided them as a final product. We've decided you could customize them. And so you've got a primary color here, and we decided to go from blue to pink. It's not very visible here. And use a gradient, and change whatever font or whatever. This way, click, click. Then you can make it TNS, and then you can say that now you see the controls are they're good. So, what's behind the scene? We've introduced something called the ADC, the Askia Design Control. So what is the ADC? It's just a zip file in which there are a few things. First, there's like the flash control, but it could be also Silverlight, it could be HTML5, it could be many things. We're going to try to make sure that whenever a new technology happens, we can include it into the thing, okay? And an XML file, okay? The XML file, you got it here. There's, XML file, you don't have to worry about it. But what it does, it defines the properties of that control. So when you're going to define a control, you'll be able to say, well, was the author Paul? Paul did that control. And then you got the things where you say, hey, there's a property that's a box primary color, you define it's a color, and therefore you can see it's a color there. You can define the size, you can define lots of things, the gradient, you say it's a Boolean, and that's it. So what we've done is we made sure that however complex the parameters of your control will be, or our controls will be, you'll be able to change them and tweak them. So hey, how sexy does it get? You can get beers, like star rating, like beautiful transparent thermometer, a bouncy ball, more beers. Paul likes beers. Then there's like grid questions. I mean, it's important, you got to realize that response rates are falling. If you make it a little bit more exciting, then it's more likely that people are going to participate. And if you got a large grid, then, you can do that. It's also, we're talking about conjoint analysis, we're talking about some of those designs. Well, those flash controls will be able to do that and, and make it more exciting. Rather than having a huge grid, you'll have something that's going to be easier to fill, more interesting, okay? And, well, the idea is like, we've done some, but we want you to be able to do them, you should have, every of you research companies, have one Flash developer. They're cheap. Well, not Paul, but, he's good. But have one that's going to do things for you. And then what we've done is, we made sure that, You know, we're going to put together a tutorial about how to do them. We put some classes that you can reuse and talk to the Askia components in a very easy way. So you should do them. And then once you've done them, what can you do? Well, you can share. That's nice, you know, make sure that everybody in this room, you know, see how good you are, you know, and participate in this nice thing. Or not. You know, make lots of money out of it. You know, it's possible. And there's going to be guys that are going to work in the evening, you know, they've got a daytime job, they're going to do those controls, and we're going to host them on our site. Kind of iTunes, you know, iControls, I don't know what we're going to call it, you know, and then, you know, you'll be able to, you know, test them, see, oh, I like that one. You're just going to be able to download the file, put it on your installation, and there you have it. And the promise we'll do is we'll only take 10% of the money there. Well, Patrick says 20, but, you know. All right, enough with Flash. I'm trying to go quick because I know some of you got to leave. So, Design 6. Design 1 was about, I don't know, 14 years ago. I don't even remember how was the last time we did the last design, but it was a long time ago. But for the first time, and we changed entirely, years and years and years of bad practice, We've talked, you know, with some of you guys, but lots of it internally about what it should do, what it should be, how it should like. You know, usually I do software, I tell everyone to shut up, and this is how it works. Then the clients complain, I improve them a bit, etc. So this time we changed. We really talked. We want this stuff to be, the best software about it, and we mean it. And I realized it was not going to be me that was going to come up with that, so I had to ask my friends. So we started thinking about it. We've not started the development, okay? And I will not take any question about delivery dates. All right. So first, our decisions. Well, we think software as a service is a good idea. You know, it is great that whenever you can work, you'll be able to access your stuff, you know, et cetera, et cetera. It's really good, except when you're on a train, on a plane, when you got limited connectivity, when you're worried about security, et cetera, et cetera. So we're going to do what we've done with Askia Vista and Analyse. We're going to have a version that's going to be offline, and a version that's going to be online. So you'll be able to start working on your questionnaire, big, up. It's really urgent. You work home, you feed your kids, you start working on it, and you don't have a good internet connection at home. And you'll be able to do that. That's what we want to be able to achieve, and we will, because we're going to use Silverlight, which can run offline and online. Also, the whole thing will be linked to Askia Field, CCA, whatever you want to call it. But the idea is that you will log in, and as you log in, we will know if the language you prefer is English, Uzbek, or in a likely event you want French. But just make sure that it will know who you are. It will know also if you're dumb or clever. We'll be able, well, you're clever here, but some of the users in your company are dumb, and you don't want them to touch routings or anything. You just want to, maybe correct a few things, make something blue. So you'll be able to, well, hey, I'm not going to let Patrick touch any of my surveys. And that's the idea. It's like you'll be able to have profiles and define exactly what people can do and can't do, and make sure that it will work for everyone, and that in its lowest common denominator, it could be used as SurveyMonkey, and in its best incarnation, maybe compete with the other softwares. Hey, it looks good, eh? It's in a browser. What can I say? Lots of things. First, you can see this Paul here on the top right. He's log in, he's logs out. What we'll be able to do is that if Paul works on something, well, John will be able to log on the same survey and change it as well. And you will see what part of it is locked. So you're sure that two people will be able to work on those big, large omnibus that need to work for tomorrow, and without any collisions where, the changes of one is lost by the other of the other. And you can see what you've got the idea, you got the, we want it to be WYSIWYG, but I'll explain that later. You got the properties on the right, you're gonna have this office thing on the top, let's go on the next screen. Here, you got a series of questions. The idea there would be, well, you got like single, multiple, numeric, like recording video. I don't know. We'll be very clever there. But we want also that you define grids, and from your question types there, you will already have an idea of how you want them. If you want like a nice slider, if you want a conjoint matrix or whatever, this will be part of your question types that you'll have, and then you reuse, so you'll be able to customize that bar on top. And what you'll be able to do is either double-click on one of these, tuck, you got a new screen, a new question, and you work on it, the properties are on the right, or, you just, click on one of them and drag it on the screen, and then you'll have it on one screen, you'll have two questions. So the idea there is really to make it, WYSIWYG and what is the screen? It looks good. Well, it's a good screen. You can change things. You can drag things around, of course. It is, you can, well, let's go on the next one as well to see another one. Yeah, here you've got the properties of your responses, and so you've got the WYSIWYG mode where you can add stuff, but there also you've got still all those things that you can add and you can improve and define. Yeah. What are we talking about? We're talking about undos. Hey, revisions, Each time you change something, you'll know what you've done, and you'll know if somebody else has done something, we like to blame people that screw up surveys, so it'd be good, you'll be able to blame someone and say, you screwed it, Patrick. Next screen. Yeah, it's always a nightmare. You got a big surveys, and the idea of Askia was always to be able to cope with very large surveys. You got like hundreds of questions. Well, you want a hotspot. You want to be able to say, find me anything about Coca-Cola. Zoops, you got a hotspot, you type 3 things, and the list of questions and brands will appear right away very much in an Apple kind of way. What is this one? This one is, well, it's going to be beautiful, there's paint, there's colors. But yeah, and so, you'll be able to test it, send it to your clients. And one of the things we realized with our software is like, whenever, some programmers do bad software, and I know there are a few, you've got the possibility of going onto Redmine and saying, this doesn't work, correct it. And then the guy, me, comes back and fixes his own software. We're going to do the same thing with surveys. It's always a nightmare. You send it to the client says like, screen 17, there's a spelling mistake. Screen 18, the routing doesn't work. Well, we have this test mode where, poop, you'd say it doesn't work. The writer will get notified, and then he'll say, well, I've solved it. And then the client will know that, et cetera, et cetera. So we're going to introduce like quality management, in terms of survey that we didn't have up to now. It was manual. It was quality, you were doing it, but it was manual. We're going to try to automate it. It's nice. I don't remember. Oh, it's the routings. The routings. Okay, everybody hates complex conditions. It's always a nightmare when you do a training. I don't do them anymore, but when you do a training, you explain that, yeah, this is nice stuff, but when it fails, you got to start writing code. So what we decided to do is like add conditions. When you say and then, usually you've got to run a script. Well, you'll be able to do that with, with the interface and add as many conditions as you want. A little bit like you can do in Analyse right now, but, more extended. And same with actions. So many times you say, well, if the guy says, I'm, Chinese, then you're going to change the language. You're not going to ask questions about Tiananmen. You're not going to ask questions about that. So what we're going to do is like with one condition, having the possibility of having more than one action. That's the idea. And again, having all the stuff on the right, that you can rearrange, very visible, but, make it, in one big screen. Now that the screens are much bigger, have as much information as you can on the stuff on the screen. Translation will be included in the thing. What's the point of having another software when you can have everything there? You'll be able to lock translations. You'll be say, well, that one we're going to keep. It's nice like it is. And make sure that the messages get translated, everything. So that's that. And that's it for the preview of Design Sys. Analysis. I got into market research because I liked analysis. I thought it was fantastic to do math using linear algebra or whatever, and then managing to describe people. And I got into there. I did a nice software that was doing that, then I met Patrick, and then my life changed, and I'm doing collection. I'm not interested in collection, and what I care about is analysis. So I'm going back where I belong, or what I love to do. We talked about it. Web 2.0 is going to change everything. Web 2.0, 2.1, 3.0, whatever you want to call it. What's going to happen is you're going to get much more text. More. And either you learn to, blink read, or how's it called, speed read, or you will need better tools to analyze the data you get. Postcoding is not enough. This is text we're talking about, and huge amounts of it. So there's also ways there was the tag clouds, and Ray Pointer says analyzing text with tag clouds is like analyzing chocolate by weighing and not tasting it. It is funny, but it is not true. You will need to look at words in a quantitative way, put them back in their context, not try to be too stupid about it, but understand them, and use statistical methods like factor analysis, where you're gonna put maps of words where, depending on their proximity, you'll be able to say that. This is like an analysis of a logo. Roughly, people like the logo from left to right, and they loved it on the right. You can see by good, but and top to bottom, you got an access on people thought it was dull or exciting, and it's kind of interesting to analyze words like that. You can't do that by postcoding it. It doesn't work. Just by getting the raw text, you'll be able to do things like that, and then. Trying to find for a subpopulation they overuse that word or this other word is interesting, and you will have to do it. It's something that we did in previous version of Askia Analyse, and none, were asking it. We know it because you didn't report bugs about it, and you reported bugs on everything else, so I know I've got bugs everywhere on my software. But strangely in there was none, therefore I know you didn't use it. You've got to start using it, and I'm counting on you to come up with good ideas about it, and drive me to do a good text analysis software for surveys. I'm not going to analyze blog, but and then multivariate analysis. Hey, SPSS is really good at it, and I'm not trying to go for SPSS. But for surveys, when you got your data neatly in one place, well, you should be able to do stuff, cluster analysis, of course, some factor analysis, whatever, and it's things that, I like doing, that we've done in Analyse before, and you guys don't ask about it. We talked about it because you're obsessed by PowerPoint. Well, we sorted that out. And cross tabs. We've done that, we're doing them well. Now it's about time to try to think how to deliver more interesting data, and again there, I'm counting on you to drive us. So many times we are market research industry is boring, and you blame us, software providers, for being boring. Okay, we are boring. But, you need to tell us what you need, and you need to make us a bit more exciting. Well, that's about all, folks. I almost forgot. I do a Steve Jobs here. There's one more thing and one more lie. We started the work on Design 6, and we're going to do you a short demo, okay? Just because I like you. So, this is the login. Hey, it looks good, eh? And this works. This is real. This is James at the back, doing it. It's not an AVI. This is real. This is live. It's the first time anyone's seen it. It's beautiful. There's a login. There's a password. You can change the country instead of language or whatever. No. And it's none of it works. Come on, huh? But well, some of it does. But so here you got your list of surveys. You'll be able to create a new survey and say, well, I want to use that template, or that one that I've used before, etc., etc. You've got a startup template, so when you want to do for a mobile, for a web project, for a catty, maybe you want it pink, you want it blue, you want it gray, and you want it whatever, it's going to be there. And if you got an existing, these are actual existing surveys running on our CCA, on our Askia field. So, this is not smoke and mirrors here. This is real, we brought it live. So we're going to click on one survey here, and there, it's so smooth, it's just beautiful. You see the list of questions appearing there on the left. As you click on the questions, you see, you can move things about, you can drag them, rearrange, and then we'll be able to skin it, etc., etc. But did you see that? Wow, he's put it on the right. And then here you can see you got all your properties, your question types, everything there. And then if you click on the question, have you clicked on the question? Yeah. Well, here it is. You got, your question. You'll be able to use those nice office things and say, no more HTML coding. You were too stupid for HTML coding, or too lazy, or whatever. So now you'll be able to, use the toolbar, do things, click, etc., etc. Hop. And there you go, and you can see the design. Right away, you'll see how it looks like. It's not, you still have the screen groups, where you can say, well, this is the main survey for web, and there'll be one for CAPI, etc. But as you work, it'll be there. And then, well, as usual, you got your design, you can see the HTML mode, etc., etc. But you can see the, and then you got your resources, all those nice Flash controls are going to be there. Again, it's going to be drag and drop. You're just going to zoop, stop, pop, and it's going to be there. This is all that works, huh? Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you very, very much for this is really the end now. It's been a huge pleasure to be here, and I've been a nightmare to Patrick for years and years and years to organize this event, and we were really worried there's going to be like 2 people turning up, if we organize. So we're really happy you came. And I hope you enjoyed it as much as we did.